Hey everyone, welcome back to another Weather with Ryan forecasting video. In today's forecast, we're going to be going over the tropics and the new jet stream pattern and how this will affect our weather in the United States as we know it. Let's get straight into this. Before we get into the jet stream pattern, let's go over this big time heat wave that has been affecting the central portions of the United States. Very dangerous heat wave underway. So right here is our big massive heat dome. This has been causing rigorous and dangerous heat to the central portions of the United States. Very high heat index values, but we have some new information on this heat dome and when it's going to end. So this heat dome is still going to progress. This is on Thursday. As you can tell, this heat dome is still here, but it's not as strong as it was through the mid portion of the week. And as we progress it through the portions of the latter half of this week, this is on Friday, as you can tell, it started to shift westward back towards California, which is good news. So this big time heat dome is going to shift back westwards towards California and towards the western coast of the United States, which is good for us. So semi-normal temperatures for August will be returning, and in return for this big time heat dome, this big time high pressure system moving back westwards will give a chance for upper level disturbances as in the 500 millibar runs and stuff like that to bring in more disturbances to the contingency of the middle portion of the United States. Alright, so we're looking at the total precipitation. This will kind of give a bigger picture of this huge ring of fire weather pattern going on right now. This big old omega blocking pattern. So as you can tell right here, this is our high pressure. This is what's causing our heat wave. And as we progress it through, look at how everything is missing it. This is all precipitation. And look, it's just this big high pressure system is causing all of this big time convection to be missing the central portion of the United States because of this big high pressure system blocking everything out. It won't let anything in to the middle portion of the United States. And this is what is causing big time drought-like conditions in the middle portions of the United States. But with this heat dome moving back westward towards the western coast of the United States, this brings the potential for upper level disturbances to come back into the middle portion of the United States, bringing storm chances and much needed rain chances yet again. Alright, take a look at the 500 millibar maps. This is a slightly older model because the new models do runs every morning at around 4 a.m. so the new one is still loading. But right now this is our big heat dome, as I've said before many times, and this is going to be preventing 500 millibar flow. But as we progress it out to around this weekend, as you can tell, it starts to shift back westward, as I've been saying, towards the west coast of the United States. So by Saturday, our heat dome will be positioned over the panhandle of Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, and this is going to bring in some synoptic flow from the 500 millibar maps and runs into our area. As you can tell, we have a little bit of 500 millibar flow in our area. This could bring some temporary relief for some cooler temperatures, but not much. And by around Sunday, it actually starts to get a little bit more strong. Not really much of a severe threat at all into our area, just some cooler temperatures for August, much needed cooler temperatures, might I add. A little bit lower humidity values in our area, which is very needed. But bringing some cooler temperatures on Sunday, hopefully, and as we progress this through on Monday, that all starts to die out. This heat dome is over Wyoming at this point, Wyoming and Nevada by Wednesday. And this brings in a opening for 500 millibar flow into our area. This could bring in some disturbances and some much needed cooler temperatures for us. And again, to visualize the 500 millibar maps a little bit easier on your brain because Weather Bell is looking pretty complicated. So right here, this is our big time heat dome over our area. It's going to be a very rigorous heat wave, I will say. And as we progress this through on Wednesday and Thursday, you can see it shift westward, which is very good news for us. The heat will still be pretty intense throughout the remainder of this week, but it will start to really die down this weekend, which is very good. And as by Monday, this heat dome is obviously, as I said before, it's progressed over New Mexico, Colorado, and Arizona, which is very good. And this also brings in the chance for 500 millibar flow into our area. And this will bring the chance for disturbances, which is very good. Cooler temperatures, lower dew points, lower humidity values, which is very needed in our area. Taking a look at the temperature for today, it's going to get pretty hot. So as we progress it out through around 12 p.m., it's going to get around 88 degrees down in Callaway County, over in McCracken 88, and over in Massac, so extremely hot. Heat indices are also going to be extremely warm. As we progress it out to around 4 p.m. today, 91 down in Callaway, 91 also over in McCracken and Massac. Very warm. 93 over in Sikeston. Extremely warm, hazardous temperatures outside for today. This is around 4 p.m. And as we progress it through around 6 p.m., they'll start to cool off. But around 4 and 5 p.m. are going to be the maximum times for this dangerous heat in our area. And for heat indices at around 10 degrees onto the 91 and 92 degree temperatures. So you get around 102 degree heat index values. That is extremely warm, plus the humidity. It's just a recipe for disgusting heat outside. Alright, shifting our attention to the tropics. So right now we have post-tropical storm Gert. Gert has been destroyed by wind shear. It's expected to die within the next 24 to 48 hours, and this does not pose a threat to the United States. Take a look at Tropical Storm Franklin. Tropical Storm Franklin is right now going through a downward trend due to wind shear and tropical Saharan dust, but is it expected to re-intensify within the next 24 to 48 hours? And Franklin and some ensemble members have been showing a potential for making a landfall in the United States, which is not good. We do not want to see that in the ensemble members, but that's only like 2 ensemble members. All the other ensemble members have been showing it out, going back out to the Atlantic Ocean and getting away from the mainland United States, which is the best case scenario. Tropical Storm Harold has now formed, and this will pose a possible storm surge threat for the southern coast of Texas over in Corpus Christi. This could bring storm surge up to 3 feet, 40 mile per hour wind gust, and some flooding for that area in Texas. So obviously be prepared now. Know what you're going to do in Tropical Storm Harold. This formed last night over in the southern portion of the Gulf of New Mexico. So yeah, but that's also bringing much needed rain for the southern portion of Texas, which is very needed. And we also have some development out here in the central Atlantic basin going on. This is a 40 to 60% chance of development within the next 7 days. A depression or tropical storm could be likely soon within the next 6 to 7 days, but we will just have to see. So far, none of these areas of interest look like they are going to make landfall in the United States, which is very good. The only threat for landfall I can see right now is Franklin, but only 2 members of the models have been showing that. All the others have been showing it veering back out eastward into the Atlantic Ocean, which is where we hope it does. Alright, taking a look at the Saharan dust out in the Atlantic. Saharan dust is one of the main killers for hurricane development. So right now there is quite a bit of Saharan dust over in the central portions of the Atlantic basin. Right now that is obviously preventing a lot of development for those systems over in the eastern portion of the Atlantic basin. Quite a bit of dust out there, but there's not a lot of dust out over in the western portions of the Atlantic basin, over where Tropical Storm Franklin and where Tropical Depression Harold are. So there's not a lot of Saharan dust to limit Franklin if Franklin were to potentially pose a threat to the mainland United States. The only hope for Franklin getting torn apart would be wind shear. And this big old pattern stays this way, and the Saharan dust actually starts to weaken and go away through the middle portions of next week over in the Atlantic basin. As you can tell, there's basically no Saharan dust out in the central Atlantic basin, which is pretty surprising for this time of year. So if any tropical developments want to form over in the middle portions of next week out in the central Atlantic basin, this is the prime time for them to develop upscale and to maybe pose a threat to the United States. And as we push it out to Monday, August 28th, there is no Saharan dust over in the portions of the Lesser Antilles, moving it out towards the Gulf of Mexico. So if any storms were to form out in this area, they would have a free ride to the United States and pose a threat to us. All right, take a look at Tropical Storm Franklin. So right now, obviously, there's a lot of ensembles showing a bunch of the runs moving it out towards the middle of the Atlantic, which is good. We obviously want that, but there are only two or three runs showing it move towards Cuba and taking more of a westernly track towards the continental United States. And then again, this is only two runs out of like 50, so it's not really that likely. And also there's a bunch of other ensembles, and there's all the other ensembles have been showing it go out towards the Atlantic, which is very good. We do not want this storm to impact the United States. That would be very, very, very not good. And taking a look at the Euro ensemble, it also shows it moving out towards the middle of the Atlantic, which is really good. We don't want that. And taking a look at the GFS ensemble, it shows it going out towards the middle of the Atlantic, moving away from the United States, which is very good. We do not want Tropical Storm Franklin intensifying into a hurricane and going into our portion of the United States, hitting the mainland United States. That would be very, very, very not good. I want to thank you guys for tuning into this Weather with Ryan forecasting video. If you guys enjoyed the forecast, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell to stay in the loop for any weather information. I will see you guys in the next video.